I wanna go back to this piece. What was your main inspiration when it came to this? You mentioned Horizon. Where did you first? Welcome to the podcast, bro. A little bit about yourself. You studied architecture, and you entered the world of fashion, and now you've chosen light. Can you kind of walk me down where this path started and where it is now?
Yep, it was 2016 that I went to architecture school in Los Angeles
Uh-huh.
named SciArc. I was 25 or 26. It was my first time going abroad, living by myself. Of course, there are many beautiful moments and stories
Mm-hmm.
from the time, but also like pain and,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
kind of loneliness as well. Landscapes were, spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, very spiritual.
There's a huge contrast between Korea and the States, right?
Yeah. Seoul definitely has its distinctive beauty
Mm.
with mountains and tall trees.
Yeah.
The trees change their color every season.
Yeah.
But the one that I'm missing here is the horizon
Mm.
made out of the vast, endless landscape.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm in that landscape, mostly driving on the highway,
Yeah.
yeah, I see those spiritual moments.
Mm.
I'm driving on the highway, but at the same time, I'm driving into myself,
Mm-hmm.
my mind, and naturally imagining what's beyond this end of this road, beyond this horizon,
Mm.
and also what about my life after this. That's what I wanted to share through this lighting object. But at one point, I wanted to use my skills and thought process, I'd say, understandings of design and architecture
Mhm.
for something else, moving faster,
Mm.
which was fashion.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, fashion was way faster than anything else in architecture. And fortunately, I had really good friends already
Mhm.
doing great job in Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
I was also already working with them remotely when I was in LA. At one moment, we decided to work together fully on
Mhm.
site in Seoul. So I moved back to Korea. And yeah, it's been journey with the brand globally,
Mm.
presenting collections and products.
And then you now entered a new chapter in your life, light.
Yeah.
Can you briefly tell me about why you've chosen this?
Light was the purest medium to form something, to form the space, to form the time or moment. And it's really ancient and fundamental for every single minute, second of our life. So I think it's really important to make good light and good lighting environment,
Mm.
especially for Korea.
Mm.
We have very white ceiling light,
Yeah.
really intense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's the problem that I can easily find here in Seoul. And also mentally, we're depending on the light of the screen. I use the word mentally because the screens doesn't really support you to think of what you want or where you go. Most of the time it projects what others want, what others think. So that's, I think, the issue that I want to tackle. Especially nowadays, those flux of information, we can't really tell what's right information to choose or use. And at the same time, we have AI that really do something beyond human capability. So it's really important to know what I want or what I know and why I know. Those kind of setting up your own perspective, your own standards, your own criteria for the issues out there.
I think you're hitting like a problem that a lot of creatives, a lot of people face, is whether to appreciate the integration of AI or whether to be opposing it. I'm really curious as to what you think about AI.
Of course, there are scary part of the emergence of AI, but it also help us to move forward the discussion. What's humanity because of AI? It forces us to think in different way.
I'm curious, how do you consciously remove the distractions, whether it's your phone or whether it's just life? How do you personally stay focused and create your own ideas instead of...
Turn everything off.
I wanna go back to this piece. What was your main inspiration when it came to this? You mentioned Horizon. Where did you first got inspired by Horizons?
This piece is actually the materialization of my memory when I was in LA, California, on the highway. There is endless horizon made out of the landscape. And whenever I see that horizon by the landscape, I was always imagining what's beyond this horizon, and then where am I driving to?
Was the color also inspired by your time in LA? Because it's almost muted. Yeah, talk to me about the colors of this piece. Why you chose almost no colors?
First of all, I wanted to have achieved that desaturated color. So it reminds me and it helps me to be relaxed and focus on inner self.
Yeah.
If something looks very exaggerated, colorful, vivid, we can easily get lost,
Distracted.
or distracted. That was the purpose for me to go with the desaturated, almost muted colors, and also to maximize the existence of light, to highlight the light.
Is it as perfect as you envisioned?
No,
No.
not at all. Not at all. There are some cracks. There are some chips on the
Yeah.
edges. And all 10 units look different. Same forms,
Yeah.
but texture-wise, they're all different. They're all, every single unit has different textures on every single side.
Right.
Some unit has very clean, flat gradation of grays,
Yeah.
but some unit has really dynamic, interesting textures.
Yeah. I can see.
See the grains of the concrete.
I think that's why it makes them special, each one of them, huh?
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
This might be me putting you on the spot,
Yeah.
but I wonder what your earliest memory of light is.
My earliest memory of light.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was at my 16, returning back to home from the cemetery.
Ooh.
It was also a highway
Right,
called Chayuro.
It was a pleasure just to see how you envision certain things and how you see the world.
How to put the stones around. How to put the wires around.
Organized chaos.
Yeah, organized, articulated chaos.
Yeah. I think I kind of want to ask this next question,
Yep.
which is when do you think you've developed this way to visualize and see what to focus on and what not to focus on? Because I see you focus on things
Yep.
that I wouldn't necessarily focus on,
Okay.
but in the best way possible, because this is something that I wouldn't really see, but you're obviously seeing it and you're obviously thinking like this is a really important aspect of, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to kind of ask, like, do you think this is how you've always been?
Yeah. I've always liked that.
You're always like that? That's amazing.
Of course, I definitely, there was a state of, you know, immature version of myself,
Uh-huh.
you know. Let me correct. No, I was not always like this.
Yeah.
But probably I won't be like this in the future because I will also have different aspects and develop the different aspects
Yeah.
of myself.
Mm-hmm.
When we are talking about a little bit of obsession
Mm-hmm.
or focus on
Mhm.
something,
Mm-hmm.
I think I had since I was really young,
Yeah. That's amazing.
playing football.
Yeah. Did you
And
used to
then-
play football?
Yeah, yeah.
What position were you?
Game maker.
What?
Yeah, game maker.
Game maker?
Like number 10 player.
Ah, playmaker.
Yeah, playmaker.
Ah,
Yeah,
wow.
playmaker.
Nah, but I think it translates effortlessly onto just real life where you are the playmaker.
But that means that I was not a striker,
Mm-hmm.
that I was not really obsessed with me being or me getting a goal,
Yeah.
but my team winning the game.
Damn.
And then I have so much regret on that. So much regret on having that attitude toward my life. I should have focusing more on me
Yeah.
getting a goal.
Yeah.
I've been assisting other people so much.
Oh, bless. Nah, I think that's
Oh.
why you've come this far, because I see the people around you. I mean, you know, you help others and others help
Yeah,
you.
We have our close friend there, sitting there, doing a phone.
The next guest, maybe.
The next guest,
potentially.
probably. Shout out to.
We'll keep it a secret.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
now.
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much for sparing the time.
All right.
I've really enjoyed
My pleasure.
just looking at your work, but also just working on this episode together.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and yeah, I think we can call it from here.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everybody.